In 1973, Tom Crow founded Cobra Golf, and he quickly brought it to the United States, and he did some things in golf that no one had ever seen. He was definitely an innovator. He was a guy who took chances, and he took great chances with golf clubs, and he did it for one purpose, and that was to help people play better golf. And some of his innovations we're still using today. If we look at this bag, we've got some things that he did were very unique. The long time driver, the first 48-inch driver, all carbon fiber. The ultra mid driver that John Daly used to win the 1991 PGA Championship. But one of the most important innovations he did was the baffler. And you can see these large and heavy, because that's brass rails, that he put onto a hybrid. Didn't even call it a hybrid at the time. He called it the baffler. And this was the beginning of the hybrids, but it was probably the best one ever made, because those rails, heavy, got the center of gravity down. The rails themselves worked. Mr. Crow would tell me time and time again, Mike makes it a skidder. It's a skidder. Well, he didn't know at the time just what it was doing because he didn't have the tools to measure it. We since have taken that innovation and added it to our hybrids and our fairways, because we know now that when you go into the turf with these rails on, you lose a lot less club head speed. You might go in at 85 and come out at 83, where without the rails you might come out at 80. So you're losing club head speed, which means you're losing ball speed, which means you're losing distance. So the rails work, and that man knew it. And then another one of his really, really phenomenal innovations was the oversized iron. The first highly successful oversized iron in the King Cobra. And this was a stalwart in our line, and we still make oversized irons today, thanks to that man. So I got to know him about 9 years ago when I was courting, and Cobra was courting me for a job. And I had talked to the head of R&D, Tom Priest, and I said, hey, is it okay if I give Mr. Crow a call? And he said, sure, give him a call. And I called him, and we talked for hours about life, about golf, about family. But then we started getting into club technology. And over the years, I probably talked to Mr. Crow 2 to 3 times a month. And we shared countless stories about how to shape clubs better, how to make them perform better. The man really, really cared about the golf clubs, the brand, and most importantly about the golfer. He was a hell of a human being, and he's going to be sorely, sorely missed.
When your goal is to make the fastest face of any driver in Cobra's history, there's only one number you're willing to settle for. Introducing the first ever CNC milled infinity face, only found on the Cobra Speed Zone driver, a face that took over 3 years of engineering to perfect. It creates the hottest face and delivers the largest speed zone area of any driver in Cobra's history. Experience what faster feels like today.
We used what would look like a Formula One type car. You're going to see a titanium strip through here, but what's more important is 2 carbon fiber 360 wraps. And it saves 25 grams that we can put wherever we want to. So that's kind of what we call an enabling technology, because we've got to find that extra weight to put it in places that are really important. And you'll see it on this SZ with 2 weights, large mass in the back. So we've got 69 grams packed in this back end, which gets the center of gravity down, moment of inertia up. Now that's a mass property story. Let's talk aerodynamics for just a second. You look at the head, and you can see we've rounded the leading edge immensely. That helps from an aerodynamic standpoint. Also, upside down, raise the trailing edge, which makes it more symmetric, which makes it really slippery, really fast. So now you're getting the club head to the ball much faster. Then ultimately, you're engaging this, the infinity face. Fully machined, we went from machining just the face area on the F8 and the F9 to machining all the way to this edge, so past the edge of the face, hence the infinity face. It's 95% more area that we've machined. It makes the head, or the face, more precise, more resilient, saves a little weight, improves the aerodynamics. So there's the whole package. Get the club there fast, get the ball out fast. Comes in 2 versions. SZ with 2 weights, and SE Extreme with 1 weight. A little more compact, kind of for the better player. A little bigger plan form, a little more forgiving. The funny thing is, You've got Bryson playing this one, but Ricky likes the big one, the forgiving one, the point and shoot one. So a player's really got to go out there and try them both, figure out which one's good for them. On the SZ, you've got front-back weighting, so you put the weight in the front, that's going to bring the trajectory down a little bit, dock the spin down, put it in back, it's going to get the ball up a little bit. You're going to dial in the loft and the lie with our MyFly puzzle sleeve on both heads. Now we've put, as you can see here, this is a UST helium shaft, right? Stock shaft, tremendous shaft, but it may not be the perfect shaft for that player. I always recommend getting fit. So this comes in the 9, the 10.5, and the 12. And then the Extreme comes in 10.5 and 12. I've got 3 woods here, and there's 3 versions of the fairway wood. And it may seem extreme, but it makes sense. We've got the standard fairway wood that has carbon fiber crown, a nice size footprint. They all have rails, and the regular tour and the standard fairway have what's called split rail. So it's solid rails in the back for the turf interaction, and in front, past the split forward of that, is hollow. And the reason they're hollow is because you can get the face to flex more and give you more ball speed. So, like I said, the standard and the tour have rails. The big tour actually does not have rails. It's meant more for like a speed machine, like giving the player distance off the tee. From the beauty of it is, a player can find the perfect 3-wood for themselves. If they want a very large, forgiving head, they'll go with the standard. If they want something a little bit more compact, that's a little more workable, they can go with the tour. If they want something in between, I would recommend the big tour. The standard comes in a 3, a 5, and a 7. The tour comes in a 3 and a 4. And the big tour comes in just a 3-wood. So those are the fairway offerings for this year in the SC. So the hybrid also employs the same split rail technology I just described in the fairways. It's a unique and very useful invention in that the dark portion of the rails are solid, and that's okay because we don't need that part of the body to flex, where the front part for the split is hollow, and those will flex. So again, giving you more ball speed, just like with the fairway. Some of the new features of this head is our engineers drop this trailing edge down to get the center of gravity even lower, get the ball speed up, get the launch angle up, and spin down, so it gets up and out. So a very, very useful baffler technology hybrid. This comes in 5 locks. The new SC or Speed Zone irons, one comes in progressive length, one comes in 1 length. They both are packed with the same head technology. They have, as you can see on both of them, a carbon fiber top line. And you look at that and say, okay, why carbon fiber in the top line? We can save 3 grams, which in our world is a huge deal. We struggle for like 1/4 of a gram. So 3 grams is like 12 times what we struggle for. We take that and put it down low in the head. So it gets the center of gravity down, moment of inertia up, get it out. Other feature you can see plainly is our speed back construction, which is a little wider, a little broader, again, getting CG down and moment of inertia up. Both of those actually help get the ball up and out. And then finally, both also employ a power shell technology, which is a separate steel alloy, which is a forged plate that's welded into place. It has a rather large return. It's got a thinning zone right in through here called a crumple zone, and that turns it into a more flexing, almost catapult-like device, which again gets that ball out faster. So that's for ball speed. Cap the whole thing off with a TPU badge that makes it feel really good. So again, SC iron packed with a ton of technology, comes in progressive and 1 length. We've got a really exciting addition to the line this year, and a player's distance iron in the Forged Tech. Completely hollow, foam filled for great feel, power shell technology, tungsten weighting where it needs it, and it is a rocket ship. It's a phenomenal player's distance iron. It comes in 2 flavors. It comes in a standard and a 1 length offering, because we have found out that the 1 length does work for a lot of players. Now you got to go get fit for it. Get fit for a 7 iron. They can put a 5 iron in your hand, a 9 iron in your hand, and if you see an improvement in your consistency of strike, then I'd go 1 length. If you don't, I'd go with progressive. Player who's looking for something that they can work, that feels good, that gives them great distance, this would be the club for them. So the Arcos system is a sensor in the end of the grip, and we've got it in all of the SC products, all of the King irons, and the system talks to your phone. You literally pair all your clubs. The system will know your driver through your putter. You go out and you play, and hit your driver 290 meters right down the middle. Then you pull out your 8-iron, you hit that. Well, the system knows that you hit your driver on the tee, knows you hit your 8-iron out in the fairway, and it says, oh, that must be the end of your drive. So it records it, and it does the same thing. It leaves like a breadcrumb trail all around the golf course. 8-iron, a putt, then another driver, then a wedge, then a putt. And eventually, you get really good data on all of your clubs. And with that data, you can start playing much smarter golf, because now you know how far you're hitting all of your shots. You know your strengths and weaknesses are. The system will give you a handicap based on your driving, your approach, your chipping, your putting, and your sand play. And you'll know exactly where you might be giving away strokes or where your strengths are. Because players are just not aware of where they're really hitting the ball, like where they're really losing their strokes. Now they'll know.
This is the Ignite Powered App Cage disc shoe. It's our brand new cleated shoe of the season. And this is the big addition to this shoe, is the Power Cage. On top of our proven Powered App platform, we have these 7 cleats in the outsole, and each of those cleats are set individually into the Ignite foam. It allows them to move and articulate independently. So that's giving you better traction no matter where you are on the course. With the upper, focused on the 3 points of fit in footwear. We're making sure we're wrapping the heel with our strap. Your midfoot is wrapped by this power cage, giving you 360 degrees of support. And then your instep is locked in by this disc lacing system. So as you crank it in, you're dialing in your fit and making sure that you're comfortable all day.
Let's do this.
One wedge can't fit all golfers, so we made 3. Get tour versatility, or ultimate forgiveness, or the perfect blend of both. Play the wedge built for your game.
Cleveland Golf has always been known for over 3 decades for our wedge designs. Some people may remember the 588 wedge, which is considered by many to be the most popular wedge of all time. So it's definitely where our heritage is firmly rooted. And these days what we're really focusing on with our wedge designs is creating a specific short game product for each player type. So it's not a one-size-fits-all system. It's about providing the models and the different fitting solutions so that whatever skill level you're at or whatever preferences you have, you're going to find a Cleveland wedge that fits your game perfectly. If you would take The middle level of player is our Cleveland CBX line, which we've just announced recently, the second generation of the Cleveland CBX wedges. And what this is all about is bringing forgiveness to the short game that most players are going to be able to use. New for this generation is our hollow cavity design, which is pushing that center of gravity even farther out to the toe where most players are striking their wedges. And so it's going to feel better, it's going to perform more consistently, and it's going to offer all of that forgiveness in the short game. We have our Smart Sole family of wedges, and new for this generation is the Smart Sole 4. So this is for the player who wants the absolute most forgiveness in his short game. He's not interested in manipulating the face or trying any kind of crazy different shots. He really just wants to know he's going to take a nice easy swing, he's going to get the performance he's expecting, he's going to have a great time with his buddies. And it just gives you so much confidence when you're up against those slightly difficult finesse shots.
First, there's forgiveness. Straight shots that go far. Then, control. The only way to stick it close. Nice. Forgiveness. Control. You need both. So we built a set that does it all. Launcher UHX irons. Compact short irons that gradually progress to hollow utility irons. It's control where you want it, with forgiveness when you need it. And there's also speed. Lots and lots of speed. A variable face pattern boosts ball speed for extraordinary distance. That one's gone. The new Launcher UHX irons. Short irons built for control. Utility long irons designed to forgive. And more speed on every shot. Looking good. The new Launcher UHX irons. Step up and launch it.
If you take a look at these Launcher UHX irons, you'll notice that when it transitions from this 8 iron to this 7 iron, it goes from a cavity back design to a fully hollow design. And that's how the irons were built from the ground up to facilitate that split set transition, but in a very seamless way. So that's going to give you all the control you want in your short irons, so you can stick it close and put yourself in scoring position, but then maximize forgiveness in those long irons with a nice hollow shape. It's going to give you confidence behind the ball and help you hit those slightly difficult to hit long irons. And then moving into the Launcher HB Turbo iron, it's for that player who really wants maximum confidence, isn't real worried about looks or what others might think about what he's playing. He just wants to have a great time out on the course. So he's going to reach for these hybrid iron designs, which are going to bring that large, very forgiving hybrid technology into an iron profile. So he's going to get tons of forgiveness all the way through his set. When we returned to the woods and irons market a couple years ago, there was a big appetite for lots of Cleveland loyalists out there who were still playing some of our drivers from many years ago, and they knew that we brought the performance they were looking for. And so when we did come back with the Launcher HB family, we got real positive feedback. And now for this generation, we have the Launcher HB Turbo, which is continuing the same philosophy of the last generation, which was all about maximizing launch, maximizing forgiveness for that player who just wants to hit a high, straight shot every time. And now we've added a bit more speed to the equation with the Launcher HB Turbo. It's got our turbocharged cup face with a new variable thickness pattern, so you're going to get better ball speeds, especially off-center. And it's got this great new matte black design that's just inspired by speed and designed to give you confidence as you're standing up on the tee, ready to slam one out there. So it comes stock with the Miyazaki shaft, which is really an interesting development for us this year because we worked closely with Miyazaki while designing the club head, because we wanted to create a slightly counterbalanced shaft design. So we brought some weight up here into the grip end so that as you're swinging the club, it feels a bit easier. And what that allowed us to do was add mass to the club head itself, so you get more momentum, a bigger impact for more distance. So the fairway woods, the Launcher HB Turbo, come in 3-wood and a 5-wood, and they carry the same philosophy about maximizing launch, maximizing ball speed, and just hitting nice straight shots that go as far as possible. The hybrids are actually called the Launcher Halo hybrids. So they're bringing back some of that heritage in our Halo line, And what's really exciting about those clubs is that on the sole of them they have what we're calling our glide rails, which are these large sole features, large rails that is essentially like putting your swing on tracks. And we call it sort of our all-terrain vehicle of golf clubs. And it's all about never fearing the rough, because wherever your tee shot might end up, you're going to have a great hybrid that's going to get you up and out of that not so great lie and back into scoring position.
You know, everybody's heard about the fact that I cannot chip. And if you can't chip, you're never going to be able to scramble around the greens and score low scores or play your best golf. At last, there's something to fix my game, and that is the Smart Sole from Cleveland. This is a chipper. It's made for exactly what my problem is. It's made for those little shots around the green. It's got quite a lot of loft, so you can actually, if you play it in the middle of your feet, you can get the ball up a decent distance, like if you're chipping with an 8 or 9 iron, or if you play it off your back foot, it's like chipping with a 7 iron or a 6 iron. But the magic is in the sole. This club is unbelievable around the greens. For those who can't play bunker shots, there's a sand wedge version of this. For those who can't chip those little flop shots, there's a gap wedge version of this. It is a miracle club. Try one. You won't be disappointed.